y'all. Today we're gonna talk about what I personally think is the best, personal protection item out there if you do not or cannot carry a gun, okay? Because I'll tell it first. Let's say it this way: knife, I will not recommend it as a self-defense weapon, okay? Because some people think when you open a blade, you're opening yourself to a new world of legal trouble. Yes and no, okay? Depends what the situation. If somebody is pointing a gun at you and you stab them a few times, okay, I don't think so. No judge gonna put you in a prison for that, okay? But at the same time, if somebody has a baseball bat and let's say swings against you, and you end up stabbing him 75 times, you know what I mean? That won't be, accepted in the court of law. That's what my opinion on that, okay? I don't wanna ever go to the route. So for me, I do still carry my blade, but that's not what I'm looking for, when it comes to personal protection. Just because somebody can or carries a gun, okay, or owns a gun, doesn't mean it's always a viable option, okay? So I'm gonna talk about, today I'm gonna talk what I think is the best. I think the best one out there is your mind, okay? The way you think, the way you talk to people, de-escalation, right? That's number one. Number two, I'll say pepper spray, because you can bring this almost everywhere, including countries and states where you cannot normally carry anything else, okay? But mostly it's accepted, except like maybe UK. They have some weird laws there about pepper spray. But most European countries, South America, and United States and Canada. So one good thing is about this is a POM spray that I just got actually new in stock, okay? And guess what, I got this orange band. You can get different colors: yellow, red, pink. If you are a girl, woman, you can get a pink or red if you like that color. You can also have it black, gray, different colors. I like orange, that way I can actually see it, okay? That's why I got it orange. So I got two versions here. I got both are same. I just gonna have one as a backup, just in case. Let's say one that I want to carry every day, one that's gonna be in my drawer just in case I want to use this one, I need to replace it the same day. Got it from Amazon Prime, and I only paid like 14 bucks for both. It was on discount, okay? And I got my Prime, so it shipped the next day. Took me only 18 hours to get it. What do I think about full size versus a little one, okay? Depends what you do. If you just sit home, and we'll go to a grocery store once in a while, the little can will show be enough, okay? But if you like me and you're going out hiking and going traveling cross country and go to different states and stuff like that, and you're definitely using a vehicle, okay? You're not, using maybe a train, okay? Because on a train you probably won't even need it, okay? That's my honest opinion. You probably need a smaller version of it if you travel by train or stuff like that, public transport. If you have your own car and you go buy a car and go to different states and hiking trips, I would recommend something bigger, to carry, because if you get in a situation where there's multiple people chasing you down or something like that, or there's animals, stray dogs, I'm not gonna use this on a bear, okay? That's the worst idea you can have. But you may try it, okay? If that's the only thing you have, it may work. I'm not saying it will not work. But let's say mountain lions, you know what I mean, coyotes and stuff like that. It may work on them for sure, but I don't know about bears, okay? I never want to try that, you know what I mean? That's why we carry bear spray. But I'm saying, let's say if I go downtown, I don't know what states are around me that are crazy. I mean, Alabama kind of, Louisiana, Tennessee, Memphis area, for example. I'll say some part of South Florida, like, Fort Lauderdale. This is a great option, because if you go out there, walk at night, want to take a river walk, something like that, this is a great thing to carry, because you have a lot of, content here to spray, right? On these little ones, you probably have 12 seconds of sprays. That's probably gives you 12 short bursts, 1 second burst, 12 of them. You probably count about 11, because you never know if it's gonna spray all the way, and all this is about 5 feet range, I say. On this one, about 10 feet on this bigger one, because they say 10 to 12 feet, but I don't trust that. I always downgrade, because it's better to downgrade and say, hey, this is gonna only spray 5 feet and it's gonna spray 10. Then say 10, but then I realize it only spray 7, you know what I mean? So I want to make sure I kind of have, the idea how far it goes. So I bought one, to test already, that I already did test. I'm gonna upload a video later on. What I like about this is you can carry this on your left side. That means I can spin this and I can put a clip anywhere I want. I like it to set up on the left side. That way when I put in my left pocket, I can just grab it, take it out, and be ready, okay? Because if you carry a sidearm, for example, this is gonna be on your weak side, so you always remember this is your less than lethal, option. why I think pepper spray is great, okay? It's not hurting that person that you're gonna spray. It's hurt them for like 45 minutes, okay, but it's not gonna hurt them permanently, right? I mean, it's no lawsuit, nothing like that, you know. Even if they're asthmatic or if they're under the influence of drugs or alcohol, most times, you know, when you use OC spray, it will work most times, okay. The thing is, if they're very drugged out, you know what I mean, and it's not working. I mean, you still have hands, okay? You can punch and kick and freaking bite and scratch, right? Do that, you know what I mean? But this is just to blind them because the OC Orison capsicum that's inside here, as you can see it here, Orison capsicum is a red pepper, basically a little oil, right? And it sticks to your skin and it's very hard to get off, and that's why you have it in your hair for like 3 days after you get sprayed. So basically on this one it's a crossfire, so you can go any direction, which I like it. This is what I normally would have in my car or my person when I do like long hikes, stuff like that, because I got a lot of in here. So let's say you probably watch movies these days, you know, and you see all these horror movies when there's like this young girl or this young guy, this couple, whatever, go on a hike and there's some crazy, you know, weird, strange village people, you know what I mean, rednecks chasing them out the forest, you know, trying to eat them or something, I don't know. But you never know how much people you're gonna approach, how much people you're gonna get, you know, assaulted by, right? Maybe one person, maybe 5, maybe 15, okay? So when you're there in a forest and there's an possibility of encouraging wildlife, you know, stuff like that, I want to have the maximum capacity, you know, in here. But if I'm in a city and I'm walking down, you know what I mean, at a mall or something like that, I don't want to have this in my pocket, okay? That's not going to happen. So that's why I choose one of these little ones. Plus they are lightweight for everyday carry. I think this is perfectly fine, you know. But if you're out there doing more than everyday, you know, carry and just not going out to the store, something like that, and let's say you travel and you're going on long hikes or you're going into like a crowded, you know, city where there's lots of possible riots, stuff like that, this is gonna get you home, can, okay? This is on a EDC everyday type of, you know, thing. If it, my question is, you know, some people ask me always on this channel, like, is it effective to use one of these? And I say it's being used by security forces, you know, law enforcement. Pepper spray was actually designed, technically, CS gas was designed, you know, I believe in the 20s, okay, maybe earlier than that, but definitely around the 20s that when it first started coming out into law enforcement. CS gas, which is tear gas, was used since then, okay, and then they went to these pepper spray stuff, you know what I mean? It's been effective, okay, I mean, how many times, you know, you see videos on YouTube that people get sprayed and, you know, they literally get down to their knees and cannot breathe, right? It works, you know, I can tell you that much. I only had to use it twice in my life. One time was on a stray pack of dogs, okay, when I was fishing. That was one time I had to use it and it helped, and I had this bigger can, but I had the one that's not a gel because I don't like a gel, you know. I like the one that you can use as a fog, okay. I love fog because it gives you the spread. The gel is good if there's a windy area, stuff like that, but I normally prefer the fog, okay. They have a foam, they have all these different ones, but you know, if you get a pepper gel stream, get a pepper stream, not a gel, okay. This is cheapo that I got at Walmart one time I was traveling, and you know, and I needed one in my car, so I was like, you know, I'm gonna pick it up at Walmart, right? Why not? Because I like the brand Savorite is a very good one. So this one expires on 12/28, you know, so basically when this expires I'm just gonna go straight away to the regular stream because I don't like the gel. The gel is kind of sticky and kind of very hard to get behind glasses and stuff like that, you know what I mean? That's why I don't like it. But I have to use it once on a pack of, you know, 3 dogs when I was fishing. That's one time I had to use one, not this one, but the can has been replaced by actually this one. But the original can, you know, did very well. Stopped the dogs. They got into grass, started, you know, using their paws to get it out of their eye. You know, got a little pooch about 45 minutes, you know, to leave me alone, right? I was able to walk through from the little bridge next to the lake, you know, all the way to the car, and I didn't see them since then, you know what I mean? Not recommended, you know. I don't like to do this to animals, you know, unless I really have to, and that was like one of the situations where there's nothing else I could do, you know what I mean? But it's good to have it because it's not going to do a permanent damage, and you're out there knowing that you're not hurting an innocent animal by, let's say, putting an 9mm in it, you know what I mean, or using your knife, you know, to cut it or something like that, and it's bleed somewhere in a freaking bush. Okay, I'm very, very big against that. So that's why I like OC spray, because it actually stops it immediately for the most part, because it shuts your eyes so they cannot see you. That's for people too, and also it's not permanent damage for them. That's a good thing, okay. And since they have a more sensitive smell especially animals, wildlife, dogs and stuff like that, is more effective right away for them, right? Even if it's the gel. But I like the fog because for animals, the fog is way better because it uses a big cloud and covers up the whole area. So what I'm gonna say on why you should carry one. It's easy to carry, legal, so you won't get arrested, okay, even in California or New York City, whatever. It's legal almost everywhere. Also, if you use it, it is not going to be as hard to prove in the court that you use it for personal protection rather than when you shoot somebody, okay? Because if you de-escalate situation which this, I don't think so, no prosecutor is going to take that case, okay? Because they're going to be like, look, the guy de-escalated, he saved himself, the other guy didn't got hurt by anything, like let's say getting stabbed or shoot, right? He just got his little, faced, little bit hot sauce, kind of got himself a little Tex-Mex, you know what I mean, sauce in his face for a few minutes, and he stopped the attack, and he left the situation. And the other guy that assaulted this person is basically not in a hospital for 3 months, with bullet wounds or knife wounds, something like that. So most prosecutors will actually not prosecute it, including in the countries like European countries, stuff like that, because they know that if you use this, in a proper way in protecting yourself, diffusing a situation, it's 100% legal, okay? Just don't want to use it like misuse it, you know what I mean? Just spray random people just because somebody yelling at you, don't do that, you know what I mean? That's not for that. But if, let's say, the guy is yelling or raising his hands and you don't feel comfortable about the situation, you can always use this, that's my opinion, and get out of there. And they call 911 and say, look, this guy charged me, he has his hands up, I was scared, I use it, I diffuse it, I got out. That's why I like it, because it's more easy to say, hey, this is what I use it, and I stopped the assault by the person or the animal, and I got out of there. And nobody's going to judge you for it because it's not permanent damage. Like, for example, I don't like tasers because it's only one shot, and if you missed, then you can zap them, but I don't want to be that close. This gives you the distance, and gives you the opportunity of being able to throw this can away, go to a next store, next pharmacy, Walmart, whatever, and pick up another one, okay? So you're not looking for a $500 for a taser or beer now, okay? I actually do have a Byrna in my safe. I do not like it much, okay, because I'm gonna do a video for it on too. I'll be honest with you, I will. One of these nights, when I have some time to go out and do some shooting. Byrna, great little toy, okay, if you, let's say, walk down. I take mine for hiking too, you know what I mean? Because if you put a little rubber bullet, 68 caliber in it, you know what I mean? You can literally shoot something, and it's gonna hurt it as crap, but it's not what I like, okay? Because if you have some crazy guy that has a gun and you pull the thing out, you're probably gonna get shot. So it's more like a wildlife slash, if the person has no gun, which you never know, okay? So like, I prefer it just for the wildlife, you know what I mean? Coyotes and freaking anything like that. Never got bothered by that except stray dogs. One time I seen a bear. Actually, second time. One time when I was in Colorado mountain lion. But one thing I have a problem with is you cannot take this on a plane, of course, right? But I believe so. Up to 2 ounces you can take and put it in your checked luggage. So that means, let's say if you go partying in Vegas, okay, I'm gonna use a great example of Las Vegas, okay? There's no way you can carry a gun there, right? That's one thing I can tell you. Very strict, a lot of rules and stuff like that. So this, if you go to, let's say, to the casinos and stuff like that, nobody's gonna check your pocket and look for this, okay? None of the security teams, even if you have to have a metal detector sometimes, I was able to sneak one in to like concerts before, stuff like that, because they didn't check my pockets, okay, because there's no metal in here. There's an aluminum, but it didn't pick up on the detector, so I was able to actually sneak this in my pocket. Now this model, Saber Red, a little other one, Saber, and it's actually very helpful. That way, you can have it on you even in places where you cannot, let's say, carry a knife, okay, for example, if some people carry that for defense, which I don't, I just am big against that, you know what I mean? What I think this is effective for as well, to get people off you. So when we live in a country where everybody in a road rages, stuff like that. I have an incident happened to me a few days ago when I was traveling. Crazy guy was following me to like Bojangles, you know what I mean? And basically nothing serious happened, but this is great for when you travel on the road, for road rages. If there's any violent protest and people surrender your car and you need to get the heck out of there, you know what I mean? And they break a window down, you can spray them and take off, whatever. But I would recommend for people that travel and gonna be out there and maybe one for your car, I would recommend one on your person, one for your car. So let's say if you end up using this one, is to have a backup, okay, to use. but you can get a bigger one than this one. You can get the freaking 4 ounces one, and you can get the home defense ones and all that, you know. One. Oh, my cat is here. I'm gonna have to show you. This is crazy. She just scared the heck out of me. Look, this is like little tailless Manx cat, okay? And she just wanna check everything out, and she's curious, and she's cute, and she's annoying, you know, and she just wanna check everything out and say hi. You see, she just wanna come say hi. So, why I got the one with the clip, not the one with the keychain? I don't want to carry this on my keychain. Come on, this is too big. It's gonna be weighting me down, you know what I mean, and all that. And I want to have something where I know I want to have it clipped to my pocket, like a pen or, you know, flashlight. Because I also carry, of course, I carry light, you know, and all that. But I want something that I know is gonna be there. But I also wanted something that I'm familiar with, which is the flip top ones. Okay, so that's why I got the Palm, because they are a great company, kind of new company. And they just started selling these, and they are decent. You know, I'm gonna actually get the video out that I tested one of these, you know what I mean, and we're gonna see how that's gonna work, because I truly believe that everybody should have one of these. Okay, I don't know if you out there, and let's say if you don't ever leave your house or apartment, or if let's say you only go to the store and go to work and go back home, doesn't matter. You never know what's gonna happen. You are at a gas station at 8 p.m., you know, and you're getting gas, and there's some, you know, situation that needs to be diffused. You never know what can happen. You can be there at 10 a.m., 1 p.m. You never know. You never know when some crazy situation like this gonna happen, where you're gonna need one of these. This is a great way, because you can keep this in a car. Don't keep it in direct sunlight, but keep it in your car. Keep this one in your car, you know. Keep this one on you, okay? But you can keep also this one in your car and have it in the middle console, because sometimes you just use it to diffuse. Sometimes you just use it to save yourself from some crazy stray dogs that are trying to attack you, you know, because they hungry or something. And please don't use it on stray cats like this one, okay? Please don't. She don't like hot sauce. She definitely likes some salmon though. But what I'm saying is, I think this is the best out of the best personal protection items, okay? Because, like, for example, I got my baton right here. I would not recommend for anybody carrying unless you get a proper training, because it's not as easy to use as you think, because there's certain ways you have to use to hit, you know, and then the person can take that from you. I don't think so. Nobody's gonna take this from me, okay? When you hold it in a full arm like that. The good thing also is, when you use it, because of the heaviness of this can, the hard plastic, you know. I don't know if any of y'all know the trick from like high school years, when you took a lighter in your hand to make your hand stronger so you can punch better. Okay, so if you use this and it's not helping, and this person going after you or something like that, you can always use it as a lighter in high school, you know, to make your fist stronger, so you can punch, so you can make it tighter, and you can use that for two, or you can hold it like this, and you can use the bottom to strike and stuff like that. Especially on the bigger can, you can use it as a, you know, striking device, stuff like that. And of course, it basically keeps you see, it's non-flammable, so you can use it with a taser if you have one. I'm not a big fan of those tasers, okay? That's why I never own one, you know. I'm like, nope, not happening to me, because electricity, I'm not playing with that, you know what I mean? Like, not worth it, and it's only mostly piss people off. That's all it is, you know. Because this one can piss somebody off too, and they can chase you, right? But guess what? It automatically shuts their eyes. That means they cannot see you. That means if they cannot see you, they cannot get you, right? So you basically move to the side every time you spray this. I would recommend, if you spray somebody with this, move to the side. That way, when they run towards you, the last, you know, place you was, that's where they're gonna run. Okay, so if you step to the side, their vision shuts down and they done for the day. You know what I mean? So it may not stop them, but it shuts their vision automatically, no matter what they do. So basically, they won't be able to open their eyes for like 30 minutes, so you can get the heck out of there. That's why I prefer this one. And plus, it's legal, of course, and it's easy to buy, you know, and you can always replace it anywhere you are. So let's say if you go on vacation out of country, and let's say even in Germany, you can buy one there, you know what I mean? And you don't need no license, no permit, nothing like that. Which I think is strange, because, you know, like, for example, I believe it's DC that you have to register. So if you travel to DC, you have to have it registered. You know, I don't think so. It's for the tourists. I never checked that. Don't take me for my word. But I know, like, in, for example, in like Chicago, you have to have your FEO, firearm identification card, like something like you would buy ammunition when you buy one. But when you have one from your state, you should be able to normally have it. I don't know how that works in Chicago, but I know you have to have a like firearms identification card, for your ammunition. Depends. I don't know exactly about that. I'm not sure how that works, but I read about it. I was like, wow, that's freaking interesting. You need that for literally this, okay? But I think you can still buy one at Walmart there. When one day when I go back to Chicago for a little trip, I'll check that out, okay? I'm gonna try to buy one in the store and see what they're gonna say. Because if I'm in Chicago and let's say that's why I like to carry more than one in my car if I travel, okay, or on my person. Because let's say if I go on a plane and I have two in my carry-on, excuse me, like my carry-on, my, checked luggage, I can have two of these, right here. I can have two of these. So if I use one, I got one left. Basically, that's why it's always better to have two than one. If you could travel and stuff like that away, let's say. I don't know if you can take it overseas. I never did any overseas travel where I brought one, so let's see. I don't know about that, but let's say you go to Mexico across the border, right? I don't know if they're legal in Mexico, but I bet so they are. And so let's say if you go to Mexico for vacation and you go up there and you can buy one there. If you can buy one there, don't bring one, okay? But if you can't, and let's say it's still legal, and let's say you're not gonna be going anywhere where there's stores where you can find one, and you don't wanna go through a whole Mexico and walk and these little streets to go get one. I think you can bring one. Don't take me for my word now, okay? Don't, please. But if you can, buy one there, do it. If you can't, try to bring your own. It is of course legal to bring one. So for example, I don't know what's the law in Canada, right? But if I would have traveled to Canada by car, I'm bringing one of these, okay? Because if I'm at the border and they ask me, hey, why you have this, okay? Look, I'm in here, you have a bunch of freaking bears, a bunch of wild stuff. I'm gonna be doing some hiking, camping, whatever. I think Canada actually has a law where you can only have animal ones, so I would grab my bear spray in that case, that doesn't really matter. But they have one that you can use just for dogs that you can buy as well. That's legal in Canada, and so I would do that, for example. But let's say if I had this one in my car, right? They would have asked me that question. The great, way which this product is, you can diffuse it by saying, look, I bought this, I'm coming from the United States, I don't know your law, whatever, but guess what? I have this for dogs, stray dogs, wildlife, whatever, when I'm going hiking, right? The way of you getting probably charged, with some violation is probably low, because they're gonna be like, yeah, this guy looks nice, he got a backpack, he got a tent, and he got all his camping gear, and he's just here for camping, I mean, he didn't know that. They're probably gonna confiscate it, okay? In best case, worst case, you probably have to pay a fine or something like that. But when it comes to everywhere you go, right? Let's say any other U.S. state, and they may have some restrictions. Let's say I brought this big can, and you can only have let's say 1.5 ounces, and this is 2 ounces, right? For example. So you can always get away with that. Like, hey, I'm a hiker. I got 2 ounces. I know the glass is 1.5. Sorry, I didn't know that. I'm tourist. I'm doing camping. This is my only way to defend myself. Most cops won't probably even say nothing about it. You know what I mean? But the thing is, because they know this is not a weapon. It's not a concealed weapon in any jurisdiction in the United States that I know of. It may be weapon if it's used unlawfully, okay? Some states, yes, but not as when you just carry it, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to have a concealed carry license for this one. So that's a great option to have for everybody that don't want to go through that process, because some people don't. Some people don't want to go pay $120, then go not spend another, I think, $400 for the cheapest guns out there to get ammunition, get the training, go to the range, all that, when you can just go to freaking Walmart and pick up one of these up, you know what I mean? I mean, for most people that actually just want something, this is a great option, and it's also legal 100% in most jurisdictions. So thanks for watching. This is what I think is the best self-protection weapon, tool on the market right now.